Dorkshelf.com. We are here with the one, the only Adi Granov. How you doing, sir?
Very good, very good. Pretty tired, but good.
Pretty good. So how have you enjoyed the convention experience so far?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, yeah. I really, Canadian fans seem to be really nice, so I really liked it. I was going to say, that just makes a big difference when people are nice, so...
Right on. Well, we're glad you enjoyed yourself. Now, you've done a lot of European conventions, correct? Can you tell us a little bit about the differences between those? 'Cause a lot of our fans don't happen to get over to Europe, but...
there's a big difference between different European conventions as well, but the ones I tend to like to do are the small town ones where, you know, like south of France, you're on the beach signing for people sitting, you know, under a tent on the beach. So it's, and a lot of the cons there are paid for by the local government, so they don't charge for tickets, so it's a much more kind of a relaxed atmosphere throughout the day, and then very long lunches and very late dinners, and so it's much more of a, how should I put it, a relaxing kind of party atmosphere, while the North American cons and some of the bigger European cons feel more like work. Yeah. You know, so they're nice, you know, and especially if people that come are nice, they're really pleasant, but it feels a lot more like, you know, being inside under these lights and doing work. Yeah,
exactly. So, again, we're happy that you're here, and hopefully this hasn't felt too much like work for you.
No, I mean, you know, I enjoy doing it, so that's why I'm here, really.
Very good. Speaking a bit about work, you started in comics a little later in the game, but tell us a bit how you got into comics.
Well, I was doing illustration, and I was always just an illustrator, so comics for me is just another illustration job. But I was working as a concept artist at Nintendo, and then I wanted to leave kind of the corporate environment and started doing role-playing illustrations for Wizards of the Coast. And then that kind of led into doing some more comic-related stuff, and then that actually led into doing a comic book for Dreamwave company here in Toronto that used to exist. And then Marvel saw that comic that I did, and then they asked me to work for them, and that's kind of it.
And now you are quite infamously known thanks to a little-known movie called Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of the right place, the right time, really. And Marvel asked me to. When I first started working for Marvel, Iron Man was not selling very well. It was quite kind of in the doldrums, and they asked me to do, you know, just almost as a trial. And somehow my work just connected with people and the fans of Iron Man, that it just kind of kept rolling. And eventually it led into the movie, and it's just been kind of this long 5-year, 6-year, 7-year actually now ride with Iron Man.
And all things made of iron.
Yep.
Right on. So tell me a little bit about the design and the concept, or the concept of the armor. Because I know in Extremis there's the triangular pattern, and then you were quoted in an interview later on when the movie came out, you actually prefer the circular pattern, is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I think the circle... to me is a bit more, because the original gray, you know, Iron Man has the circle, and somehow circle is like the perfect shape, and I just always liked the circle, and the triangle I always felt was a bit, I don't know,
forced?
Yeah, in a way, yeah, and it kind of looked, at times it looked like the Superman symbol as well, so I really like the circle, but as with anything, they can't leave things alone. So now in the movie, again, he's back to the triangle as well. So I'm sure it's going to go back to the circle, and maybe it'll be a square at some point, and so...
And a hexagon and some sort of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, and then he'll have 2 of them or 3 of them or whatever.
Right on. So you've been doing a lot of cover work for Marvel right now. Which do you prefer more, the storytelling and the panels, or do you actually just prefer to do covers?
I think overall I probably prefer doing the interiors, just because it's part of a larger kind of a cinematic thing. The covers I really like when I have freedom to kind of, you know, push them and do some interesting things, because I like to have a challenge. But a lot of the covers have to be, especially if they're for bigger projects, they have to be, you know, the iconic, you know, character standing there, you know, looking, you know, so those can get a bit tiring after a while, just because it's repetitive. I mean, kind of the flip side of that is that apparently I'm quite good at those, so they asked me to do a lot of those. So it's, you know, and I can't complain. It's fantastic work either way, but...
Right on. So tell us a little bit about some projects that are coming up down the pipe for you. You're working on a lot of the X-Men covers right now. Do you have some work coming down the line? I mean, you're going to be promoting Iron Man 2 a fair amount, I presume?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of X-Men covers. That seems to be like because I haven't really worked on X-Men before that much. So now that I started working with that office within Marvel, they seem to be really liking the work I'm doing. So I'm doing a whole lot of X-Men. My wife is a big X-Men fan, so it kind of is best of both worlds. I'm doing a lot of Iron Man stuff, also mostly covers. So. They're re-releasing the book that Warren Ellis and I did, so I did a cover for that again. And I'm doing covers for the movie preview comic, and then doing something for AC/DC that they're doing the music with Iron Man 2. Then I have 2 stories that are kind of mid. It's just that everything now is on hold while
Iron Man.
and the covers and stuff are going on. And then I have a design job outside of comics that I'm doing as well.
Where do you find time to do it? That's a lot of work. That's a lot of.
I don't know. It's I don't sleep very much, and I don't really have a social life outside it. So it's one of those things, when I'm doing something really cool, and then they come and say, "Oh,
we've got something cooler."
Well, no, not even cooler, but it's like so cool that I can't say no, so I have to add it. And then something like Iron Man 2 comes along, and then it's something that only I can do, and then I have to do that as well, and and then something comes that pays really well, so I have to take that as well. And
right on. So speaking about Iron Man 2, they're and speaking about your work with Warren Ellis, they're releasing a motion comic of the Extremis. Have you seen that yet? What are your thoughts on it so far?
I've seen the first episode. Yeah, I was really amazed at how I didn't know what to expect at all, because it's not something that I was involved with doing. They were just taking my art, and I was really amazed at how well it actually turned out, because I couldn't really visualize how they would animate painted art, and actually translated really well. And the pacing, they did really like the pacing of it is really good. So I was really impressed. It really kind of gave. Because when I drew it, I didn't really, you spend 3 days on a page sometimes, and you completely lose track of what the pacing is like. And then reading the book for the first time, you realize that, it actually flows. And then in this, also seeing it, it was almost, because I haven't read the book in so many years now, it was kind of like seeing it completely with fresh eyes, and it was surreal, just because the art I did for it, I did it so long ago, and now it's being animated. So
Come full circle.
Yeah,
right on. And lastly, Adi, I want to thank you for your time. I want to ask you one last question. What is on your dork shelf? What do you collect? What do you covet?
I wouldn't say I collect anything specific. I just collect various things that I like. The Pride of Play stuff now, actually a Sideshow Collectible sent me the Iron Man figures that Hot Toys made that are incredible. And then on the shelf opposite from that is actually another Sideshow statue of Iron Man based on the cover that I did of him punching the ground. Then aside from that, I really like a lot of the Japanese robots and car models. I'm really into cars, so I have a lot of car models as well.
Well done, sir. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure. Adi Granov and DorkShelf.com.